So, hey, what's up, my gay viewers or bi viewers or whoever is watching, whoever. I mean, everyone's welcome here to watch this video. So, you probably saw the title and you came here and you're like, well, I want to see if this guy's telling the truth because I'm older than him, or maybe you are also in your 30s and curious about what it's like for me, or maybe you're younger and you want to see what's in store for you. I can't guarantee this is what's going to happen to you in your 30s because everybody has a different story to tell. Everybody has different experiences throughout their whole life. That is true. Before I start, I got to kind of tell you the pre-story to 30s. I got to kind of tell you what it was like in my 20s. And being a sexual minority, it definitely played a much harder role for me. How I know this? How do I know this? I had an identical twin brother, and he had his share of issues, but my issues was way far in depth than his was. And me and my brother shared our experiences and stuff like that. And I think my brother clicked and understood what I was talking about. He goes, "My gosh, I never knew I never knew so many of you guys thought that way and had so many problems with this and this. I never saw it this way." And I would be giving examples of, becoming attracted to a straight guy and they're never going to like you back, or, you know, giving examples of, hearing homophobia when you're in the closet. You hear so much homophobic stuff all the time. It's not every day and every minute, but you definitely hear it a lot, and it doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't make you feel accepted. And that definitely has a toll on our self-esteem. It completely destroys and lowers my self-esteem. It makes me feel bad. I still to this day struggle with my confidence and self-esteem and all that stuff. And it's pretty rough. And I think in my 20s, I had an idea that everybody was extremely good looking but me. And then when you see these modeling pictures and stuff like that, and of gay men and all that stuff, they all look great. So I saw myself a really low, ugly troll, and I saw the desire, the bar for being gay was like really high, and that's the way I saw it. That didn't make me feel good about myself. That's just the media driving that insanity right there. And then you look at pornography, and you can see all these beautiful looking guys and stuff like that, and you're like, I don't look anything like that. So body issues for him. So the typical gay crap you hear everywhere you go, it was there. I mean, it doesn't make us feel freaking good at all. So in my 20s, that was in my mind and all that stuff. And, and like I said, my brother Michael had a different trajectory than I did. He definitely had more confidence, at least a little more. He had social anxiety like I did. But I felt like he didn't encounter all of these very unique situations that he would never, he was straight and I wasn't. So I should have said that earlier on. He was straight and I wasn't. So that was a huge difference. But anyway, now let's get to the 30s. That was my backstory. So that stuff definitely didn't go away when I hit 30. It was still there, but a lot of it was sort of dying off as I was beginning to wake up from the falsehood of body images. No one's perfect looking. We all have flabs. Some of us have to spend 6 to 7 hours in the gym looking good. So the whole body image thing, which is so heavy in the gay community, still persisted. I was literally working out all the time in my early 30s. But then I began to sort of put the pause and say, I'm going to work out 3 days here, 2 days off, and stuff like that. Not that there's anything wrong with working out every day. If you love working out and want to look great, have a great body, go for it. But for me, I was like, who am I kidding? I don't I don't care really that much. I want to look good. I want to be healthy and stuff like that. But I didn't put all my eggs in that basket anymore because I think it was going down a very bad slippery slope for me, where it really wasn't addressing the core psychological problems. And being in my 30 and being a sexual minority, I had so many problems and I wasn't even addressing them. So in my 30s, I started to address my problems. So that was good. I started to realize I got problems. I got social anxiety. I need to start working on it. I started this YouTube channel to start doing that. And that was smart. That was one of the smartest moves I ever did. I thought it was the stupidest thing I did at the time, but it certainly paid off. Do I have do I fall backward sometimes? My gosh, dudes, I totally do. So I started addressing things like social anxiety and self-esteem and all that kind of good stuff. And I will say, compared to like 29 to my age now, total difference. It just, in a matter of a few years, it made a huge difference in my life, just trying to address those issues. I'm also more goal oriented. And the reason why I'm more goal oriented compared to more of a straight person is I think what's driving it is loneliness. Okay, I'm going to get to that loneliness in a second, but um, I'm more goal oriented. I'm trying to focus on accepting myself and things like that, and I'm coming along. And I think it's a definite day and night from my 20s to my 30s. So self acceptance, pretty good. So on to the negative stuff. There are definitely some bad things being a sexual minority and in your 30s. And let's start with the dating. I did a whole video on the dating, and I would say the quality of the dates were really good. So there was a lot of good stuff, probably more good than bad with the dates. But the problem was getting the date. So once I hit 30, it's like I kind of dropped off the spectrum. It's like, hello, hey dude, you're 29, I'm 30, let's go on a date. No, it's like I look in the mirror, and then that kind of drove me backward at one point with my body image and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of slid back briefly, but I realized I'm a silver fox. So in the gay community, what do they got all these crazy labels like, what if you're after 30, you're a silver fox and stuff like that. It's kind of a hasty category to put 30 plus for everyone in that one group. I mean, there's people that are in their 70s, 80s, 60s, 50s, 40s, and 30s, and it's like all one group. And it's like it's like it emphasized how much more important the 20s is, and that doesn't make anyone feel good. So the dating, I think what happened, and I'm going to get more detail with the dating thing. So like Tinder can put filters on and then matches and all that stuff. And I think I was never being matched because either they may have not found me physically attractive, and that's okay. You know, that's fine. I don't care. They may not like my profile, and I know that some do not like what I say in my profile. I'm very direct. But some might not even see me because they filter me out because they just say, no one over, I'm 28, nobody over 30. I think that's kind of steep, especially if you're 28 or 29, to say something like that's pretty aggressive. But my issue is the gay community focuses heavily on the youth. And I felt like when I was in my 20s, I was being hit on by everybody, 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s. That was great. I was popular when I was 25. It was just like boom, boom, boom. I kept getting so many messages. It was crazy. Now that I'm in my 30s, it's like not even the older people hit on me. It's like they skip me. It's like I feel like everyone's just skipping the 30s and just going right to the 20s, and it's like, hello, But I also have to be fair, I'm not living in a major city where a lot of 30-year-old, sexual minorities live. They don't really live here. There's like no sexual minorities that live here. And they're in their 30s because I think when they graduate, high school or college, whatever, they move away. They're gone. So, and I target 30s. I've always targeted my own age group primarily, but it kind of is like a dry desert. And maybe those people are, they have somebody now and they're together with them and stuff like that. And that's great. But what about me? I need the date. So, and as a result, what happened to me is I just don't care as much about dating anymore because I'm so used to being single, and I've learned that the world don't revolve around dating. Dating isn't the most important thing in the universe. It's not. I know movies tell you that, like, love is the best thing and blah, blah, blah. I don't agree with that because I don't think you shouldn't put all your eggs in that basket. You may never, ever find somebody, and you may be happy doing whatever else you do in life. So I know that we're very social creatures, but you don't have to socialize in a way to where you have like a relationship. In fact, you may be more unhappier being with somebody. I've heard quite some terrible stories. I mean, how many people do you know that they divorced in their 30s? Looks like everything went south, right? See what I'm saying? They were probably so unhappy that they just could not work it out, or they didn't want to screw with it. Who knows? But so that's overall how I feel about the dating in my 30s. It's again, I did a video on this and it touches base with it. I'm not going to drill down into that anymore. I want to go ahead and talk about the loneliness part. Um, and not just in dating, but with just friends in general. And I think that, you know, a lot of guys, whether you're straight or gay, when you go into your 30s, you have less friends. And I think that's widely known. Okay. But I think the gay factor, and depending on where you live, actually heightens it and makes it worse because, we're trying to battle so many more psychological battles than a straight person would. And we might lash out in a way where we just hide under a rock or something like that. But for me, let's talk about me. Um, I think that a lot of my friends that I used to know and used to hang out with and stuff like that, they all got married and they have kids now and they just are so focused on their life that they don't have time for, hey, you want to go get a drink or something like that. And another factor is I've moved around a lot and don't have connections like I used to anymore. But I think that a lot of people are so wrapped up with their own partner and stuff like that, they just don't have time for friends, and it frustrates me quite a lot. It's like, well, what about me? Am I not fun to hang out with? I like to I like to have fun just as much as you do, but and you know, it's just much harder if you're gay than a straight guy. Straight guys complain about the same thing. It's just we got that extra baggage with us through life that we have to try to fix and work on. And I think again, if you're in your 30s, you start working on fixing yourself, fixing things. You broke a lot of stuff, or you were broken going into your 20s, and you start. I think you may start fixing your 20s, and I suggest you do that if you're ready for it. But I think by the time you're in 30s, I feel like you're really hard pressed in trying to get something going and at least becoming more self aware of your problems, you know. And that's what I'm doing is I'm more self aware of the world around me because I'm wiser and I'm more patient and stuff like that. I'm just ready to just listen to people and that want to give me advice and stuff like that, and maybe apply those changes to myself and work on myself. And in my 20s, I didn't even care about any of that. I didn't want to listen to people. I didn't want to take anyone's advice. I want to do what I wanted to do. One thing in my 30s versus my 20s, I've become more distant from the gay community. It's not necessarily in a bad way. It's just I simply can't relate to the gay community as I once did in my 20s. It may have been I've never really fit in the gay community to begin with, but I just don't relate to the same problems. I have my own problems that maybe you can relate to, but I just don't feel like we have the same experiences in the same way. Like I definitely like I don't share much in common with a lot of gay men in general. I'm not trying to stereotype gay men, but there's a lot of commonalities they have that I simply don't. I don't focus necessarily on those, and I can be friends with them on that. But I've went on like a few hangouts with gay men, and I didn't know what to say in any of their conversations because it's just I don't have anything in common with that. I felt really bad. I tried to actively try to be interested in stuff, but deep down I wasn't interested. And I just wanted to fit in, and I realized I just can't always fit in. We always can't fit in, and it's okay. I think the thing is, like most people, by the time they're in their 30s or 40s, or maybe heck, maybe by the time they're 22, they're more financially stable than when they were when they were younger. And I definitely am in a much better financial situation than I was when I was 20. I looked back and I kept an old paycheck from when I was 20 years old, and I do not know how I managed, and I thought I just literally was hanging on by a thread when I was 20. It was so hard and I worked so many hours and I was just trying to get through life. And I don't know how I did it when I was 20. And I don't have any advice to a 20-year-old about how to get through it because you just have to work at it. You just have to keep working at something. And sometimes it don't end well at that job or whatever it is, but there's always another door to continue on your great work and working at it. And that's what I did. I worked in retail and I didn't, like convenience stores and stuff like that. I didn't go nowhere. And then, on top of the whole mental health problem about being a sexual minority, on top of that, that definitely dominated my life and definitely got in the way, but I still kept working at it despite that. And it was awful in my 20s, but by the time I got my 30s, I think the picture became clear and I started to get the rewards started to pay off. You know, I still struggle here and there with finances, but it's okay. But I'm a lot better than what I was again in my 20s. So it pays off. Now, and you know, the gay factor definitely has two directions in my opinion. Now there are statistics that say gay men are actually more financially successful than straight men. That is true. I wonder if it has to do with gay men are single or lonely or battling so many issues and struggles that they devote all their energy into their job. And I'm not like that. I actually struggle with everything, but there are statistics that back that up. You can check them out. But no, I didn't go that way. Again, that's where I don't fit in with the gay community. I just go in the opposite direction of what everyone goes in. So, um, but I will say, I just, you know, now tying this back to why am I talking about finances and stuff like that? Well, now that I make more money, I think some gay men that used to never want to come hang out at my place and stuff like that, I noticed they've changed and they would say, "Oh, I can come over now." I still get snooty people that say, "You come to my place, I don't come to your place." You know, whatever. Nah, screw 'em. Um, and finally, I get asked this a lot. And it's like, well, did you go through a crisis in your 30s? I never went through a true crisis in my 30s. I went through a depression streak with the loss of my brother. That was the worst thing to happen to me in my life, but it didn't necessarily lead to a crisis period. There may be a crisis period to come in my 40s or my 50s or whatever, but I did go through crisis periods in my 20s, especially my early 20s. My mid 20s was a breath of fresh air for me because things started to change and get much better. But when I was 23 and 24, that was the worst period of my life. But this is not about my 20s. Gosh, I don't even know if I ever want to talk about necessarily my 20s like I did and the draw my life. But I don't. But anyway, so again, I will say it's a mixed bag if you are a sexual minority and in your 30s. Well, at least for me, it was. What was your story like? What were you? Are you in your 30s? Or are you in your 20s watching? Like, you know, what are your expectations of your 30s? If you are in your 30s, how do you feel overall being a sexual minority in your 30s? If you're not a sexual minority, how do you feel like? What's your 30s like? So, well, just respond back, just holler, you know, check it out. Oh, and by the way, feel free to check out my new gaming channel. I have the link below. I actually right now, at the time of this recording, I'm posting every Saturday and sometimes on Sundays on my other channel. So check out Matthew Rhymes. Um, that's all I got, guys. Thanks for dropping by, and till next time. I will. Oh, and hold me to this. Hold me to this. Um, I'm going to try to do a video every Monday. One of my goals this year is to try to have a consistent schedule, consistent videos, consistent even stuff outside of YouTube. I'm trying to do consistent goals across the board. And YouTube is one of them. It's something to try to keep me in check, you know, and just follow a good schedule because it's much healthier. I used to regularly follow schedules and I've sort of fallen off the bandwagon. I don't know if it was the pandemic or what, but I'm back on it, and you hold me to it. I will try my best to do a video on this channel every Monday. So, all right, cool. All right, bye.